Let's make some tofu that actually tastes good. Welcome back to Plant-Based Kidney's Kitchen, everyone. I'm Michelle Crosmer, renal dietitian, and I think tofu is a very feared food in the plant-based community because it kind of is spongy, it doesn't have much flavor. So the most important thing with tofu, in order for it to taste good, is to get the texture right and to add flavor to it. You wouldn't eat just plain raw chicken and then eat obviously cooked chicken. You wouldn't eat it like that. You would add flavor and seasoning to it. So that's what we're going to do with our tofu. So first thing you're going to do is preheat your oven to 400 degrees. Now, tofu is usually sold in packets like this, and then it's in water. I usually get firm or extra firm tofu if I'm going to be roasting it, sauteing it, or grilling it. And we're roasting it or baking it in the oven today. There are other textures of tofu. So there's silken tofu, and other tofus, but those are usually used in other types of things, casserole dishes or smoothies or desserts. So those will be covered in other episodes. Today, we want to make tofu that's a great substitute for animal protein to throw into a salad, a bowl, a stir-fry dish, or anything like that. So first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your block of tofu out of the package, and I already drained it so that it didn't have to be over my sink. But you can find tofu presses online. They're on Amazon or in stores. But really what you're going to do is take the block of tofu. And what I do is cut it right in half. And then I turn it on its side. Cut that in half. The next piece on its side, cut that in half. And then I lay it out on a cutting board on a paper towel. Then I take another paper towel, put that on top, and then I just put something heavy on top of it. So usually the pan that I'm going to cook the tofu on, I'll put that on there. And if I have time, if I have 10 to 15 minutes, I'll put something heavy like a pot or a pan or a bowl on top of it and let that sit. If I don't have time, like right now, I'm like, oh, I just need to throw it in the oven and cook it. You can just press some of the water out. And that's all you have to do. Now, this is extra firm tofu. If you were using firm tofu, then you might want to press it a little bit longer. But that's all I've done. See, there's water on the paper towel. And I'm going to then cube up the tofu and season it and then throw it in the oven. It's as simple as that. And you can cut as small or as big of pieces as you want. But typically what I like to do, and again, I'm making this for myself. I'm making it for my husband. My baby eats tofu. I like to make it in sizes similar to if I like baked or barbecued chicken and was going to cube it up because that's what people are oftentimes used to having. So it doesn't, as long as the texture and flavor is there, it doesn't seem like this foreign thing that they're eating. So I'm cubing it up basically to look like that. And I'm going to throw it into a mixing bowl. Now, again, one container, standard container of tofu is 12 ounces. Some will be bigger and they'll be 16 ounces, but usually the ones in my store are 12 ounces. I usually recommend buy organic tofu. And again, you can use extra firm or firm. And I'm cutting so into 4s and then into 3s is all I'm doing and putting the cubes in here. Now we want to make a little marinade for this tofu. Now, of course, you can do a marinade and let your tofu sit, but what I found with this marinade specifically is you could just throw it on there and throw it right in the oven. It doesn't have to sit. So what goes into this? So we're going to do 1 tablespoon of nutritional yeast. And I'm just going to add that to here. We're going to do 1 tablespoon of coconut aminos. You could do a low sodium soy sauce, but that will have a little bit more sodium. But 1 tablespoon, pretty hefty tablespoon of coconut aminos is going to go in there. I usually say just sprinkle some seasonings that don't have salt that you like. I always do onion powder and garlic powder and just sprinkle a little bit in there. You could do pepper if you want. Depending what flavor profile you were going with, you could do like chili powder or cumin. I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of rice vinegar. You could do lemon or lime instead of this or another vinegar. Then I'm going to do 1 teaspoon of some sriracha. or this is a Trader Joe's version of sriracha. And again, this makes 4 servings, so it's not going to be really spicy, but you could always leave that out or do something like red chili flakes instead. So then I'm just going to mix this up. See, it makes kind of like a creamy marinade for it. And all you're going to do is pour this over the tofu. Make sure you get all of it out. So I've poured that over my tofu. I'm going to mix it so that it's all evenly spread. And honestly, this is so good that tofu isn't raw. You could technically eat it without cooking it. I think it tastes good even without cooking it, but obviously we're going to cook it. We're going to get it a little bit crispy on the outside while keeping it still somewhat soft on the inside. And then I will go over the nutrition info with you guys. So this is what it looks like all tossed. And then we're going to put this on our pan with some parchment paper, and there's less cleaning involved. And one of the main things with tofu is you want to make sure that you don't overcrowd the pan. So if you are making multiple blocks of tofu, definitely use the bigger pan, because if it's too crowded, it kind of steams and it doesn't get crispy. So just make sure the tofu is all spread out. See what that looks like. And then we're going to put that into the oven. So again, at 400 degrees. I usually do it for about 30 minutes in my oven. If you had a convection oven, you might only want to do about 20 or 25 minutes. If your oven is old and cooks slower, sometimes I'll leave mine in for an extra 5 minutes to get it even crispier. But it really depends on the texture that you like. I'd say do it for about 20 minutes and then see after that if you need to do another 5 to 10 minutes. So we'll put that in the oven. And then we'll pull it out in a little bit. All right, let's check on our tofu. Mine has been in the oven for about 30 minutes. And as you can see, a little hot. So it's nice and crispy on the outside, but it is still soft on the inside. So it's kind of like chicken. So 1 serving. So again, that block makes 4 servings. 1 serving of this cubed up tofu is about 2/3 cup portion. If you chopped your tofu smaller or you crumbled it up and roasted it that way, then it might be a 1/2 cup as a serving, depending on how much it shrunk down. But this is about a 2/3 cup portion. And that's going to be your serving. This is going to be great on salads, on stir fries, on bowls. You could use it in a wrap. Anything that you would normally throw like cubed up chicken or meat on, you could easily use this as a plant-based option instead. So nutrition information per serving is 103 calories, 109 milligrams of sodium. That's using low sodium coconut aminos. If you used a reduced sodium soy sauce, it would be about 185 milligrams of sodium per serving. 12 grams of protein, 2.5 grams of carbs, just under 1 gram of fiber, 194 milligrams of potassium, and 151 milligrams of phosphorus. If you're someone who is on dialysis and you have higher protein needs, then you might want to use a bigger portion, maybe 1 cup, so you get more protein. If you're someone who has lower protein needs, let's say you're a very late stage kidney disease on a low protein diet, then you might want to use just a 1/2 cup portion. That way you get less protein overall. But it's a great option. Try it. Like I said, crispy on the outside. It's still nice and soft on the inside, and it's great to go on a lot of different things. It's very versatile, and it's all about the texture, pressing the water out, roasting it, getting it a little crispy, and then adding a good flavor or marinade. So enjoy.